Yes! Best damn sound of the week. In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese. That sound means we're in Greentopia. But it's not a race week. We're not gambling. We're just hanging out. And I am having a good time. I'm lit. We're in Greentopia. Where the beer flows like wine, the wine flows like beer, and that cannabis grows as far as the eyes can see. It's a special week. It's an off week. And in the news!
In the news week. It is in the news week.
We're just having a good time.
We are having a good time. Even though as the season heats up, as we get into week number 7, as we swing back into Europe, for a triple header, we're doing Monza, Monaco.
Imola, sir. Imola.
I'm sorry, Imola. It was somewhere in Italy. And what do we end with?
Monaco and then Spain.
Oh, Spain.
Yeah.
Spain for the triple header. It's very, very exciting as we do a little tour of Europe coming up here. But before that, we got some news to talk about. So I know you got a bunch of stuff going on all around the grid and all around the world. But before we do that, remember, hop on that YouTube and check out In the Paddock F1 podcast or Greeny and the Cheese. Type it in the box. Check out the stuff. Check out what we got. Check out the videos. Listen to the podcast there. You listen to the podcast, of course, as you're listening right now, anywhere in the world. And give us a like. Give us some feedback. Always appreciated. Cheese, what do we got this week in the news?
Got some interesting ones here. We'll start off with the United States has now hosted the second most races for Formula One by a country ever. That was the 80th race in Miami in the United States, ahead of the UK and Germany at 79 apiece. Of course, trailing Italy of 107. But how about that? The U.S. is now number 2.
Yeah, U.S. has been racing F1 since 1950, since the first season, man. So it's not like it's anything, super new to the U.S., even though U.S. fans, especially, or non-U.S. Formula One fans, might be surprised to know that from the first season, 1950, they were racing in the U.S. So nothing new. It seems like now we have a better schedule of things. It seems like we don't have these one-offs that we had, with like Phoenix or Dallas or Detroit, or Riverside, California. Some of those races that were one-offs or, 2 seasons. It seems like we have more of a schedule now. And we'll get to Miami in a little bit, but with Vegas, it seems like it's going to stick around. And I don't think Austin's going anywhere anytime soon. I think that might be the first one to go if they eliminate one U.S. race. But having 3 races a year is going to put you up there pretty quick because Germany and the UK have only hosting one, and I don't see any time soon for them to be hosting another. So they're going to kind of run away if this continues for the next 5 to 8 years with 3 races in the U.S.
It was an interesting one I came across. As you were speaking, though, of Miami could soon transition to a night race. So we'll cover that parking lot with a bunch of floodlights.
What's better than using all that electricity in Miami for a floodlit parking lot? I know the Miami race is very popular. It bodes well on TV.
They call it the American Monaco, which made me want to throw up the other day.
That is disgusting. If they were going around like the city of Miami, if they were going past, the old hotels and Little Havana down there and
down Ocean Drive
and all the glitz and the glamour and kind of like a I would say Vegas would be a little bit closer to Monaco, although nothing is like Monaco with the hills and ups and downs because you have such, you're talking about two very flat surfaces.
Yeah.
You're not talking about the ups and downs and the hillsides of Monaco. You're also not by the water. Monaco is by the water. Miami, that's fake water. They just paint the dirt and call it water. You can't paint the dirt and call it water. It's not Monaco. Sorry, boys and girls. Miami's nowhere close to Monaco. It is a parking lot. But yes, having it at night, having less of a chance of rain to any degree would be great. I just yelled and screamed about this all last week. Yeah, you got to avoid the rain as much as possible and avoid the bad weather as much as possible. As we talked about, most Florida sports, especially South Florida sports, are domed and played indoors. So, all right, good for F1. So what is it going to be, like 9 p.m. local time? Like when are they going to have this race?
I have no idea. It is not. This is just a possibility. It's in discussions.
3 a.m. in Europe? It makes sense.
I mean, if they did it on Saturday night, sure. But if they're doing it Sunday, then it's got to be no later than a 7 or 8 o'clock start.
We'll see what happens. They could start on Wednesday with the sprint race and go from there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that might kill the sprint race in Miami, which would be fine with me.
That's a whole other story. What else you got?
Well, the final one I got for you. Colapinto will be replacing Doohan for the next 5 races, as Alpine has opted to, in quotations, rotate the seat for the rest of the season. I mean, we kind of saw this one coming. We didn't mention this in our end of the episode in the news segment last time, but it has been now official. Alpine has confirmed it. I don't know. What
if you checked out,
I don't know what this 5-round nonsense is. I don't know if we're gonna go back and forth between these two, or he gets 5 rounds to give it a shot, and then if he stinks, we'll go find somebody else. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
Look, if you're at work and your boss tells you for the next 2 months someone else is going to take your job, sounds like you've been fired. Okay? Like, you've been fired without being fired. And I guess that's going to be the situation. They're obviously trying Colapinto out in that seat. And if Colapinto's successful, Doohan's done. I mean, that in my mind, there's just there would no be reason to make this move if they're not going to do that. So try out Colapinto, see if he can. He was fantastic at times last season. And let's see if he can get that magic going.
Great,
and
fizzled very, very much.
At times, obviously, you got to get used to everything, but we'll see what happens. And I think that kind of leads into what I think plan C is. Well, I guess they're going to plan B now, which is Colapinto. So plan C, I believe, based on everything I've been reading over the last few days here, that Sergio Perez might have that seat either by the break or after the break. I don't think you're going to ever see Doohan in that seat again. And I think if Colapinto doesn't work out, they may go to Sergio Perez. That's my opinion. That's what I've been reading and hearing. That's a possibility, and it makes
Sergio
a lot of
has
sense.
Become a hot topic ever since he was mentioned to be on Cadillac's, shortlist. So he's become a hot topic now. People are now making the phone calls.
I think it's a money thing, and I think for Alpine, we have a terrible start to a season. The sponsorship can't be happy. You're not getting any TV time on from Alpine. You're seeing less TV time because you're not in the front of the pack. The sponsors can't be happy with that. So you got to put some buzz in the air, and bringing in or even talking about bringing Sergio in gives you some buzz, and at least keeps the sponsorship a little bit happy. So you can move forward, but that's just my opinion.
I think this is also just the new F1 that we've never really seen until kind of recently that we're just gonna. You never really saw people get canned in the middle of the season. Like they could stink and they'd still finish out the year. You know what I mean? This is like, they give them a chance. But now, if you are off to a bad start or anything, it's the quick pull. Just a quick hook, you're out. We'll put somebody else in there. Got to have results. Got to try and get up near the points. Got to do something. Got to make that cash. Got
Age
to
is
please.
just a number in Formula One.
Yeah.
Age is just a number. I don't care if you're Lewis Hamilton or you're Kimi Antonelli. If you're 40 or 18, you got to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And which is amazing what we haven't heard anything about Fernando Alonso and potentially his struggles with keeping that seat.
Well, I think that car is absolute trash, as we've kind of seen, because that car's nowhere. It's got zero performance. Zero performance. That car is an egg. It is bad. Even Lance Stroll even said they got to do a lot because that.
Yeah, you're good. Keep going. Keep it rolling. You're good. Yeah. Listen, going back to the quick hook, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. You get look at Liam Lawson, two race weekends, and you get canned. Um, they're making the big moves. They're making them quick because look at the other side. Look at the Kimi Antonellis. That's what they want. You know, even Ollie Bearman, he's scoring points. He's coming out there and scoring points. He did it last year. And none of these guys are predicted to do that. So either you show up and you score, and this also puts the pressure down low, right? It puts the pressure on the F2 drivers that are coming into the sport that you cannot screw around. And they might be seeing maybe less seriousness on the back end from these F2 drivers coming up. They might not see that maturity, and they might want to really pressure these F2 drivers to have maturity, because if you think you're the top of the food chain in F2 and you're going to go to F1 and have 2 to 3 seasons to figure it out, you are wrong. You are dead wrong. It's not like it used to be where you get to, be led on. And we're seeing the same thing. Listen, it's a major sport, and we're seeing the same thing. As fair or unfair as it is, we see that in the National Football League here in the U.S. at quarterback, especially, and pretty much F1 driver is like a quarterback of the team. And you don't perform in the first 2 seasons or first even season when you get drafted by a team, it's a quick hook. And good luck, and maybe you'll come back. But they're looking for more Kimi Antonellis and less Jack Doohans. Yeah. But we also are not seeing what's going on behind the scenes and behind closed doors and behind the meetings. Are they paying attention? Are they acting as if they're championship material, or are they not? Because there's plenty of people that want their jobs. So there's no lack of competition for the bottom end drivers and for the rookies for someone else to pop up from F2 and take their spot. So with all of that being said, Yeah, and we said the same thing about Liam Lawson just before the season began. And, you know, if we didn't see, and I'm going back to just, it's the Piranha Club, but we're going back to, you know, that Kimi Antonelli example or the Ollie Bearman example. They're performing. They're putting up points from day one. And if those guys weren't performing, if we didn't have the sample size of 30%, 40% of these guys performing, the other 60% would have more of a chance. We're also not seeing the comparisons. What is Kimi Antonelli doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when we're not watching? That Jack Doohan isn't. And when we're not watching. And that's what was Liam Lawson doing the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of race week that affected his Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Follow what I'm saying? That we didn't see. And I think that plays a major part of it. And I think it's a real wake-up call for those F2 drivers. But getting back to F1, sir, where are we headed next? One of your favorite spots of all time? Any chance Ferrari wins a home race? Can Lewis Hamilton finish? Can Lewis Hamilton finish in front of Charles Leclerc this weekend? Anything's possible. So, like, a spaceship could land into the middle of the track as well, and little green men can come out. Anything's possible. Absolutely. Can Oscar Piastri make it 4 in a row? We will see. We will see, and we will see you all in 8 days from now, next Sunday evening, with the wrap-up show after Imola. Very exciting. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for jumping on the YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for listening, subscribing, and all that good stuff. If you would like to donate to the show, there is a little donate button right there on the Apple and on Spotify or wherever you may be listening. Subscribe to the show. Subscriptions start as low as $3 per month, so enjoy that and jump on that. And as always, sir, say what you got to say. Peace.